Cameron from Treacher's Fitness here. Today in this video I want to talk about the squat, one of the most fundamental exercises of all good programs, and an exercise I see done incorrectly on almost a daily basis. Now, there are many different forms of the squat: high bar, low bar, front squat, Olympic, powerlifter style, narrow stance, wide stance, etc, etc. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to talk about a squat that will be used to gain both strength and size of the quads, hamstrings and glutes. And what I want to do today is break down the squat into 5 key steps. This way we can identify where we may be going wrong with the squat and give ourselves cues as to how to fix these problems. The first step of the squat is to unrack the bar. May seem like a simple step to most, but I see people doing it wrong all the time. They lean in under the bar, feet way behind it, and do almost half a good morning in order to get the bar out of the rack. This is straight away taxing their lower back and wasting energy they could be using while they're squatting. So what I recommend is to grab the bar about the same width you would when you grab a bench press and get yourself set right underneath it. Find the comfortable spot on your traps. Get your feet directly underneath your shoulders, narrower than you would with a squat. Nice tight back, hips sticking back, and then thrust your hips forward in order to pop yourself up with the bar. Once we've unracked the bar, we then need to walk it out, which is the second step of the squat. Again, seems like a simple process, but I see people doing it wrong all the time. We don't want to be wasting energy when we're walking the bar out. It may be okay when we've only got 60 kilos or so on our back, but when we've got 200 kilos floating around on our back, we don't want to be fumbling about taking unnecessary steps. So we want to take 3 certain steps. 1 foot, other foot, 1 adjustment. That way we're not going to be walking about, the weight's not going to be wobbling all over the place, and we're going to be into our squatting position nice and easily. Once we're in that position, we want to squeeze the glutes as hard as we can, locking the hips out, and begin to twist our feet into the ground to create some external rotation. Now we're ready to squat. So, the third step in the squat is the descent. And again, this is where I see people making a lot of mistakes. It's common to hear trainers and other people tell people they need to break at the hips first. And the reason I believe people say this is to encourage people to sit back while they're squatting. So I can understand why they're saying it. Unfortunately, breaking at the hips first without breaking at the knees implies either one of 2 things is going to happen. First, you're going to break at the hips, have to lean forward, and the bar is going to travel out in front of your feet. Or, to stop that bar travelling out in front of your feet, which most people will do, because if the bar gets out in front of us, we're going to tip forward. So to stop that bar reaching out in front of our feet, we'll extend our lower back. We don't want to start the squat with an already extended lower back. This is one of the areas where people tend to injure themselves with the squat, not by over-rounding, but by overarching on their way down. So, instead of breaking at the hips only, you need to break at the knee and the hips simultaneously, sitting back and going down into the squat. Another common problem seen with the descent of the squat is people pitching too far forward and into their toes. We need to encourage ourselves to sit back into our heels while we're squatting. Imagine you're sitting down into a chair. Feel the weight in the heels of your feet and sink down into the squat. As we descend, at some point we have to decide to turn the weight around. And that's the next step in the squat, the turnaround. Now this is often debated. How deep do we squat? People will always argue they only squat to a certain depth because it hurts their knees, or they don't squat to a certain depth because it hurts their back. I believe both these issues can be solved by knowing exactly when to turn around. In my opinion, we want to turn around when the weight is on our glutes, so we need to at least hit parallel. This goes back to the same reasoning I have with the bench press. We want the biggest muscles to be in control as we're turning the weight around. Now that being said, if we've hit parallel and can maintain a straight back, we may want to sink a little bit deeper. But as we sink further down, if our lower back, our lumbar spine, begins to round, that is a sign that we're going too deep. Squatting too high can cause problems with the knees. Squatting too low can cause problems with the back. So it's going to be individual to everybody. There aren't many people that can't hit at least parallel while maintaining a straight back. So aim for that at first, and then if you can, continue to sink deeper. The final step of the squat is the ascent, bringing the weight back up. essentially what we're looking for in the ascent is just a complete mirror image of the descent. We want to look exactly the same coming up as we did going down. We want to make sure our knees stay out. This is a mistake I see all the time, people's knees caving in. And I see people pitch too far forward as they start to come back up. Like I said, the bar wants to travel up and down in a straight line. And in order to do that, our ascent has to look identical to our descent. Once we reach the top, we want to re-lock the hips, maintain that external rotation in the knees. If we're going for more reps, we continue again with the descent. And if we're finished, then we rack the weight. Anyway guys, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Like, share and subscribe. Cheers.